I needed to understand how was I going to bring the positive changes in my life. That is when I finally came to understand the real meaning, the real intention behind self-love. There is going to be, different definition according to individuals, and for me, I can only share my experience and what I think about it. So let me know in the comments below what your interpretation or what your perception is about self-love, and yeah, we can have a discussion and communication. So for me, I actually recently, I want to say last year, is when I got to the whole idea of, what it meant, what it means, what does self-love mean, what does self-care mean. Not only that, why is it so important to have a positive outlook towards yourself, towards the world. And I had this moment of, oh my gosh, I have not been taking care of myself. And when I say that, I also want to add, I think I was not taking care of myself consciously. Now, this specific word is so important because, see, the fact of the matter is that we all are, going about our life, taking care of ourselves unconsciously, in regards to, feeding ourselves, drinking water, like, doing everything not to get sick, and, all of this stuff, right? But how consciously are you putting your effort, your time, and your energy when it comes to taking care of yourself? I've spoken about this earlier too in one of the videos about my physical and mental health. I knew I was at a point where I came to this realization, or should I say, last year was the year that I accepted that I was not taking care of myself, that I was not taking care of my well-being, the way I was going about everything in regards to making decisions for myself was unconsciously, as well as without realizing what I was doing to myself. One example can be, I thought I was taking care of myself and my health and whatnot by dieting without realizing that it was, doing the opposite effect. So I hope that makes sense. It's like small things, right? Eating healthy, you must eat healthy because, again, you want to do, that's where self-love comes in. You need to love yourself enough to understand that you have to take care of your physical health, and for that you require that you eat healthy food. I try to keep a balance when it comes to the food that I eat. So I do eat very healthy. At the same time, I also indulge, and I feel like that's that's the way it works for me, where I have figured out a way to maintain a balance between giving my body the nutrients it needs, as well as sometimes indulging in ice cream and pizza and all that stuff. So again, finding your balance, I feel like is super important, because that is when you will come to realize what actually works for your body. So I think once you realize what works for your body, you must go accordingly. As self-explanatory is the phrase where you are taking care of yourself with love. What I mean by that is any decisions, any choices that you make in your life, if you are making it out of love for yourself, that is going to be the best decision for you. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who has to live your life, right? Nobody else is going to live it for you. So you have to live your life. Therefore, you have to make decisions with love for yourself. For the longest time, I was making such stupid decisions because it wasn't out of love for myself, rather it was out of comparisons with others. And I knew that I was not going through a healthy path whatsoever, because it was not out of love for myself. Oh my gosh, I am so thankful that I've kind of figured out self-love for myself, because I've come to realize what it really means. Self-love is understanding to take time to focus on yourself. And that is probably the bestest definition that I can come up with, at least for myself, because for the longest time, I did not give myself time to understand and focus on myself, because I was just so, you know, I was just like running, running in life and not stopping, because I didn't know how. First and foremost, I didn't know how to stop, because I grew up with the notion of like, you have to work, you have to work, you have to make it happen, you have to make it happen, without even realizing what the hell am I supposed to make happen. And last year, when I finally had the courage to overcome my fear of taking a break, is when I realized how important it was to give myself the time to understand, to focus on myself, and then understand what is it that I wanted, what is it that I needed the most. I needed to look at myself with love. I needed to look at myself with, kindness and compassion, which I feel like I was always so ready to give to others. But when it came to me, I was like, okay, that's not how it works. It's unnatural. It's like, it's selfish, because I mean, that's what, we've been taught. That's how I grew up thinking, that if you pay attention to yourself too much, if you are, constantly loving yourself and saying, I love you, Raisha, too much, then it's selfish. But I mean, you must say I love you to yourself, but I mean, that's not all of it. Basically, what I came to realize was that I was so quick to, put myself down and, bring others as priorities all the time, that I had gotten to a point where I was not even looking at myself with kindness. Forget about love. I was not even looking at myself with kindness. I finally got the time to reflect upon a lot of different things that had happened in the past, and I had to make a decision or come to this conclusion that I needed change. So when I finally accepted that I needed change, and then I stumbled upon, wait a second, I need to start loving myself. I need to start bringing back the love, bringing back the perception of how I look myself in a positive way. I have, of course, I have been confident also in a lot of different aspects in my life about myself, and the things that I have, and the things that I've achieved. However, I feel like I came to this point or a moment in my life where I had lost that completely, to where I was like only looking at myself from this negative angle. And honestly, at the beginning, I still wasn't sure how to do it, but I started reading. Once I started reading, I came to this realization that I had not given myself enough time to even sit down and think, or ask myself, what do you want, Raisha? What is it that you need? What is it that you're looking for? And I think this moment, when I asked myself this question, the answer was okay, I have to give myself the time that I need to do the things that I want to do. So when I figured out, self-love is something that I need to give myself, right? Now the question was, what does it mean? How am I supposed to love myself? Because it's easier to love another person, another human being, and because you show affection, and I mean, there are lots of ways to tell somebody that you love them. But for me, I think because I had not looked at myself with love for such a long time, I didn't even realize what is it that I needed to specifically do. Trust me, I went through a lot of trial and tribulations. I started this whole process of looking at myself and looking at my well-being with love. And initially, when I started it, I was reading books, something that I had wanted to do for the longest time, but I constantly kept myself occupied, let's just put it that way. I kept myself occupied, and I told myself, I made excuses, not told myself, I made excuses to where I said like, oh, I don't have enough time, I'm like tired, and all that jazz. And this was something that I had to accept myself, because that is important. When you are trying to accept yourself for the way you are and love yourself for the way you are, you need to also accept and love the facts that you are making excuses, that you are coming up with all sorts of stuff to like not do things. Because at the end of the day, what I've come to realize is that self-love is discipline. Self-love also gives you an understanding of all of the things that you bring you joy and happiness and love. And I think that is something that you will be able to kind of pinpoint when you actually start focusing on yourself and looking at yourself with love. Because when you focus on yourself, the game changes. I'm not even kidding. And this is something that I can personally talk about and give examples of. This is what happens. You start realizing and paying attention to your thought process tremendously. And when you focus on your thought process, you will come to realize how you are wasting your time thinking about stupid things, basically stupid things. At least for me, I feel like I came to realize that how I was spending my time thinking about things which wouldn't even happen or it would never happen at all. Every time I think of self-love, every time I think of this concept, I constantly remind myself, like, what would you do? What would you do for the ones that you love? What would you do for the ones that you love? Now do the exact thing for yourself. Like, you be the person, be the one that you love the most, and give yourself the love, the care, the kindness, the compassion, and see what happens. You will be a completely different person. Not only that, I think the people around you will just be so much more happier, because when you love yourself, like the whole energy shift that happens, it will be something that not only you but the ones around you will experience as well. And self-love is easier said than done. However, there is a way that I have figured out works best for me. And one of the main reasons behind House of Maharrani, behind becoming Maharani, the main motto behind being a Maharani is that you have to, I cannot stress this enough, you have to consider yourself the queen, the Maharani of your life. So this is my perspective on self-love. Continue loving yourself, because when you love yourself, that is when it matters the most. Let me know if you liked this video. Do give it a thumbs up. Also share, subscribe, hit that bell icon, because I do put out 2 videos at least a week. So yeah, okay, until next time, take care everyone. Bye bye. Be the Maharani of your life. Come on. Woo, woo. Okay, bye. You're loving yourself. You're loving yourself, you're loving your flaws, you're loving, all your strengths, you're loving every little thing that makes you you.